Every era built one weapon that ruled it, a weapon nothing else could beat, until the next era showed up and made it obsolete. This is that story. From a sharpened rock to a bomb that can end civilization. 7 eras, 7 weapons that changed everything, each one deadlier than the last. And the last one has never been used twice, not because it isn't ready, because using it means no one wins. Let's start 1.7 million years ago. No armies yet, no metal, no writing, just humans and rocks. This is the hand axe. Chipped on both sides into a point, sharp enough to split skin instantly. It's the oldest weapon ever found, dated to 1.76 million years old, before our species even existed. Homo erectus made this, not us, and it barely changed for a million years old. No weapon has ever lasted that long. But a rock has one big flaw. You have to stand right next to your enemy. So someone solved that by putting a point on a stick. The spear was the first real weapon. Built for distance, built to kill. Oldest spears found in Germany, dated to 400,000 years ago. Carved from spruce wood, balanced like a modern javelin. Then came the atlatl, a lever that launched spears harder, almost 150 kilometers an hour, fast enough to punch through a mammoth's hide. And that changed everything. Some historians believe it did this. Wiped out entire species, woolly mammoths, giant sloths, bears twice our size, gone. Continent after continent, one weapon, an entire ecosystem reshaped. But the Stone Age wasn't finished yet. Someone figured out how to store energy in a bent piece of wood. The bow and arrow arrived and killed before the enemy got close. Range became the great equalizer. The smaller fighter could now win. This weapon stayed relevant for 60,000 years. 3 weapons, one long chapter of history. But metal was about to end it. Then humans learned to melt metal, around 3,300 BC. And weapons stopped being just sharp sticks. The bow got its biggest upgrade. Wood, horn, sinew, glued together. The composite bow was born, small enough to fire from horseback, powerful enough to punch through armor. Archaeologists call it the deadliest bow ever made. Ride in, fire, vanish, before infantry could even respond. Mobility and power in one weapon. But bronze gave the world something else too. The Egyptian khopesh, a curved blade, shaped like a hook, built to hook around enemy shields, and slice through the gap it created. Straight swords couldn't do that. It became a weapon of kings. Pharaohs were even buried with one, proof of just how prized it was. And then came chariots, light wooden platforms, horse-drawn, carrying an archer at full speed. At the Battle of Kadesh, 1274 BC, both armies fielded 6,000 chariots combined, the largest chariot battle in history. Fire, then wheel away before impact. It rewrote how wars were fought. Spears got metal tips too. Longer pikes held cavalry at bay. And one more weapon deserves mention. The sling. Simple leather and a stone. In skilled hands, lethal at real range. A lead ball could travel hundreds of feet. Cheap, deadly, everywhere. The Bronze Age didn't replace old weapons. It made every single one of them worse to face. Then came castles, stone walls, knights, armor. War stopped being just about strength. It became an arms race with armor itself. Chainmail gave way to solid plate. Full body coverage. Forged piece by piece. But knights weren't just facing archers anymore. A new weapon showed up first. The crossbow. Slower to load than a longbow, but it needed no lifetime of training. Any conscripted soldier could use it in days. The church even tried banning it as too cruel. It didn't work. The English longbow changed the equation further, standing nearly 7 feet tall, draw weight up to 180 pounds, strong enough to pierce mail armor. At Agincourt in 1415, outnumbered English archers faced French knights. Thousands of arrows fell at once. The charge collapsed before it even arrived. One weapon decided the entire battle, but castles created a different problem. You couldn't shoot through stone, so engineers built the trebuchet, a giant counterweight. Pure physics. It hurled stones weighing 150 pounds, nearly 900 feet, into the same wall, again and again, until it broke. The Mongols even weaponized disease with it, launching infected corpses over enemy walls. One of history's first biological weapons. But nothing in this era was stranger than fire. A Byzantine weapon, a liquid flame, sprayed from tubes onto enemy ships. It burned even after hitting water. Water couldn't put it out. Just the sight of it broke enemy morale. The recipe was a guarded state secret, and it was never fully recovered. To this day, nobody knows the exact formula. Bows, siege engines, and fire. The Middle Ages perfected killing at range, but one invention was about to erase all of it. China, a few centuries earlier. Monks mixing minerals, chasing immortality. Instead, they found an explosion. They strapped a tube of it to a spear. The fire lance. The first gun. It sprayed flame and shrapnel at once. Range was barely 10 feet, but it terrified everyone who faced it. By the 1300s, it reached Europe as something far bigger. Massive bronze tubes called bombards, launching stone balls the size of boulders, almost a mile in distance. Castles had stood for centuries. Cannons made every wall obsolete overnight. Generations of military design, undone in years. Then firearms got smaller. The musket, slow, loud, simple. Any farmer could learn to fire it. In weeks, not years of training. A peasant with a musket could now kill a knight in full armor. Skill no longer decided the battlefield. Numbers and gunpowder did. but reloading left them exposed, so pikemen stood guard while they reloaded. Then came a fix for a new problem. Early muskets left soldiers unarmed up close, so they welded a blade onto the barrel. One weapon, two functions. Muskets themselves kept evolving too. Early ones needed an open flame to fire. Useless in the rain, useless in the dark. The flintlock fixed it with a spark instead. Faster to fire, reliable in any weather. It stayed standard issue for 2 centuries straight. Later, rifling changed the barrel itself. Grooves cut spiraling down the inside, spinning the bullet for real accuracy. Range jumped from meters to hundreds of meters. Gunpowder didn't just build a weapon, it rebuilt the entire idea of an army. Centuries later, everything sped up at once. The Industrial Revolution had just ended, and humanity turned its machines toward war. First, the machine gun. 600 rounds a minute. From a single position, water-cooled, endless. Open ground became a death trap. Soldiers dug into trenches instead. The war became a stalemate. Years instead of months. Even tanks joined the fight. Steel boxes crawling straight through barbed wire. They didn't stop the war. They changed it. Then came something worse than bullets. A yellow-brown cloud on the horizon, drifting slowly toward the trenches. There was no enemy to shoot at. Only a choice. Run or breathe it in. It blistered skin on contact. It swelled eyes shut within minutes. Gas masks arrived too late for many. Survivors suffered for weeks afterward. War even spread beneath the waves. Submarines sinking ships without warning. No flag, no warning shot, just impact. It was eventually banned by international law. In a war that killed 20 million people, that ban says everything. Then a second war began, and killing moved into the sky. Bombers targeted entire cities, factories, rail yards, homes. Distance no longer meant safety. In one night over Tokyo, firebombing killed 100,000 people, the deadliest air raid ever recorded. New rockets struck from hundreds of miles away. No warning, no sound before impact. In the Pacific, Japan turned pilots into weapons. Planes loaded with explosives, aimed at ships. No way to eject, no way back. Radar gave defenders a warning, at least. A few extra minutes to prepare for the worst. And still, one weapon was left. August 6, 1945. A single bomber, a single bomb, dropped over the city of Hiroshima. The blast released 15,000 tons of force. A flash visible 50 kilometers away. Buildings collapsed within a mile radius. Roughly 80,000 people died almost instantly. 3 days later, a second bomb fell. On the city of Nagasaki. The war ended less than a week later. One weapon had ended a world war. After that, the world knew what was possible. So 2 superpowers built more. Bigger. Far more powerful. Fission bombs were just the beginning. Scientists found a way to fuse atoms instead. The same reaction that powers the sun, recreated for a fraction of a second on Earth. It made atomic bombs look small by comparison. In 1961, the Soviets tested one bomb, the Tsar Bomba, thousands of times stronger than Hiroshima. Its shock waves circled the entire Earth. 3 times over. It was never meant to be used. It was a warning. Both sides took the arms race underwater too. Submarines that could hide anywhere in the ocean, carrying warheads no one could preempt. This became the doctrine of mutually assured destruction. Both sides could survive a first strike, and both could retaliate in full. So neither side ever dared to fire first. In 1962, that theory was tested for real. Missiles were found 90 miles from Florida, 13 days on the edge of nuclear war. Then, at the last moment, both sides backed down. Then came missiles that needed no pilot at all. The Intercontinental Ballistic Missile. It can reach any city on Earth in under 30 minutes, faster than most governments can even meet. This weapon has never been fired in war. And that's exactly what makes it terrifying. In 1983, one man nearly ended everything. A false alarm signaled incoming missiles. Protocol demanded he report it immediately. He didn't. He judged it a false alarm. He was right. One decision. One person. That's the only thing that stood between us. And a war nobody would survive. So here's the full picture. A sharpened rock. A bow strong enough to punch through armor. A crossbow any soldier could learn in days. A weapon that never missed a castle wall. A tube that made nights meaningless. A spark that worked in any weather. A pilot who never planned on coming home. A gas that needed no enemy in sight. A single bomb that ended a world war. And a missile that's never been fired. Every era built its deadliest answer. And every single time, the next era made it obsolete. Except this last one. Nothing has replaced it yet. Maybe nothing ever will. And maybe that's the real lesson here. Every weapon on this list started as an answer to a problem someone refused to lose to. The question now is what we do with the last one. If this changes how you see history, subscribe. Tell me in the comments which era's weapon scares you the most.